Hey guys, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. We have Jenny Moonstone ready to tell us what the hell is going on in the world out there. It seems that everything has broken out into chaos everywhere. First of all, Jenny, how are you? How was your week? And what do you have to share with us?
Everything's peachy keen, jelly bean. Just kidding.
Really? Yes,
no, I'm actually.
Yes, she has a nerd side, and now she has food in her teeth.
I do.
Get really close so everybody can see.
No. I can
feel.
I can feel it though. It's okay. It's all right. I'll get it.
You can't see anything. Don't worry.
Well, good. Okay, so the 22nd of February has come and gone.
0202202222. Yeah.
Came and went, and my reads implied some kind of significant destruction, or at least the narrative of some kind of significant destruction. I believe specifically it was about agricultural infrastructure. And in light of recent events, i.e., Ukraine versus Russia, if you're listening to mainstream media, they are trying to propagate that this is a naturally unfolding war conflict between these two entities. But I believe that this is just more propaganda and that all is not what it seems. So there's been a lot of word on the street type of thing where we see what we're being given, we see what Mockingbird wants us to absorb, and then we've come so far in all of this that we have our own circles now, and we're like, no, really, what's going on? And it would appear to those of you that are still subscribing to the idea that we are in the middle of an orchestrated, somewhat controlled demolition of previous powers, empirical powers. This is actually allied forces taking out strategically placed deep state operatives and HQs in the Ukraine. So what appears to be World War effing 3, it's not. World War 3 has been on and waging right now for years, and it's a battle of the mind, the soul, the body, the sovereignty, what have you. So, and I know your subs know this, but I would just, I'm actually really optimistic because I think, as you know, like all of this stuff is connected. And I actually think that this is a win. I take this as a good, certainly loss of life is never good, and attacking people, casualties and collateral damage is awful. But this is, this is real life, What are your thoughts on it, Bix?
Well, yeah, I agree. Whatever we're told, we know it's not the truth now. Pretty much in anything, whatever we're told through the financial media, through the government, through the Jim Psaki's of the world who love to talk about the need for the United States to back up a war with Russia. The psychotic nature of just saying that is so devoid of any meaning or understanding of anything that's going on. I think the good guys are working with Putin, and he's part of it on a larger plan. So I agree. And as a matter of fact, we have a very special new game to play with Jenny Moonstone at the end of this discussion that will have to do with things like that. But to get back to the 2/22/22, February 22nd, 2022, which is a palindrome if you use it in the English or the UK way to put the dates.
Ah, that's right.
The day, the month, and then the year. But as of significant things, yeah, I mean, theoretically, it's the official day that Russia invaded the Ukraine, theoretically. But even bigger in our world, for silver broke through the 200-day moving average. And that was the big monster that we've been looking for the last 7 months, is for silver to break that moving average, which means, and I'm not a tech guy, tech traders I think are ridiculous, but at the same time, they place their investment decisions on the price and the moving averages and other technical signals. So not only does Bank of America have this gigantic short position that they're trying to cover, they're going to have to compete with the other half of the world in the tech trading funds, which there's a lot of money that goes into that, who will be buying silver contracts on the breach, the full breach of the 200-day moving average. Now, usually it breaches the 200-day moving average, then it comes back to test it. And then if it survives the test, then the tech traders get in. So it breached the 200-day moving average, which was $24 and I think 28 cents or something to that effect. And it ran really fast up to close to $25. And then it's pulled back and it's coming back to test that breakout. And I think it's holding. And so my first question for Jenny Moonstone, not to jump right into silver, but will the 200-day moving average hold support for the price of silver for this next month? So March.
You guys heard him.
You don't want to repeat that one.
So, okay, so this is an interesting card. So it says faith, but this is just the artist's interpretation or rendition of the Hierophant card, which traditionally is actually going to be older structures, okay, and also small groups of very powerful people. So this is, as a yes or no card, this is considered a yes, but we're going to clarify it because I want to get a little bit more. We're going to switch gears and use a different deck here. The Gods of Illuminati Tarot deck. This is going to trigger everybody. You guys relax.
I love triggering people. That's the best.
Can you repeat your question?
Yep.
For the new deck?
Will the 200-day moving average hold support for the price of silver during the next month, March?
I want you guys to know that I don't know what that means.
But that's perfect. That's why it's so
not
good.
Knowing doesn't matter. Like that doesn't matter at all. Okay, so I'm gonna say, because I clarified the Hierophant card with the Three of Swords, which does imply a negative. This is a negative combination. I feel with the Three of Swords, and I'll show you guys what this is. Okay, this does imply a kind of, this implies conflict. You know, it's always about push and pull over here and push and pull over there. But what I do like though about this is that it does appear to have been like almost this organic like pulse. Do you know what I mean? Like a heartbeat almost. And then look, there's the heart with the swords through it, and they're like, no, you don't, you know, that kind of thing. But to answer your question, my interpretation on this is no. I don't know how that makes you guys feel.
It doesn't matter how they feel or not, or how I feel. The question might have been a little skewed because we can drop below the 200-day moving average and then bump back up and things like that. I mean, to me, there's always been price doesn't matter, because I know they can click a mouse and put the price over to zero if they wanted to.
So it's more of an indicator of how the state of those controlling factions and how they're doing, and if they have the ability to continue to manipulate. That's like where I would frame that, because we know it's rigged, we know it's controlled. So my question is, how the fuck are they doing? You know,
well, let's ask the cards. How is the manipulation going for the bad guys?
Right. Let's see. How are the bad guys feeling right now about their silver manipulation? All right. This is something I can understand. You talk to me about averages and stuff. I'm like,
it's all ridiculous anyway. On the moving averages. Yeah, never mind that one. We're gonna toss that question.
Okay. How are the bad guys feeling about their silver manipulation plan? The devil. All right, there's our significator card. And our 8 of Wands is reversed. So this is where this is my thing right now. And then our 7 of Wands is reversed as well. So I like that we have the 8 and 7 in sequence and they're de-escalating. I actually will say the 8 of Wands reversed, 7 of Wands reversed implies a significant either breach or disconnect in their communications. So this registers to me as if there's been a realization on their part at some point that their communications have either been infiltrated or they're being cut out or both. Because the 7 of Wands is, when it's upright, it's a card of defense. And I'll show you guys how pretty that is. It's the mountains and, you know, the ravine. This is a card of defense. This is a card about having an advantage, having high ground and maintaining it, the work, the effort that it takes to maintain it. So if this is their manipulation plan, when it reverses like that, they're like, oh, fuck, our securities are gone, right? And 8 of Wands is their means of communication. So this kind of looks like an everyman for themselves type of situation where they're like, if their outward, if their massive global network were to be interfered with in such a way that they were only able to maintain communications in their small pockets, in their little groups, that incites panic. They're not looking too good. They're not looking very confident, although I will say with the Devil card, they think, and I feel like this comes up for them all the time. Their version of how this plays out is different. They were promised things. The Devil is contracts. The Devil is, you know, bargaining and reasoning and taking deals and negotiations, but it's all, you know, the nature of the Devil is deception. It's about doing whatever it takes, you know, what lie, cheat, steal, you know? So I'm getting the vibe that they're banking on this promise that was made to them, but they're having a problem with their communications and also with their security. Mm-hmm. It's like it's revoked. So now they're just kind of naked.
So that, I mean, to me, that speaks to the deal that was struck a year ago when Rustam Benham, the head of the CFTC, came out and said, well, we had to tamp down the price of silver. And that's when Bank of America went out and leased all the silver contracts, leasing contracts with JP Morgan, the criminals. JP Morgan is being, they're still under an illegal DOJ order that they can't commit crimes in the silver market. And then speaking of communications, they got busted for communicating outside of their approved, shall we say, ways to communicate. So, and that's after the DOJ agreement. So it really is a mess on the communication side because that breached their agreement for the $920 million fine they took. It might open them up to the DOJ again saying, hey, we got RICO charges on you for rigging the silver market. I don't think they would do that yet, but here's my other question for you, Miss Moonstone. And I wrote it down even.
It got written down. That's how you know.
The kind of the final card that they can play as far as silver price manipulation is what they call force majeure. Force majeure meaning some outside uncontrollable force influenced the price of silver. For example, a declaration of war would influence the price of silver, and they blame that on the silver movement so that all contracts are null and void, the exchange shuts down and they sort things out. Is that going to happen in the next 2 months on the comics?
Eight of Wands upright. Y'all, I mean, you guys, you can't really, I guess you can't see because it's like down here, but because I shuffle down in my lap.
Oh,
I don't,
we can hear it. We
I
can hear
don't
it.
usually, yeah. So let me see here. Eight of Wands, very fast moving energy. News that comes at you fast. So initial positive or negative charge associated with this card is a positive. It's a yes, but always when it's upright. When it's upside down, like we saw earlier. So it is interesting to me to note that this external force, this something that happens that appears to be outside of their control, but they could utilize as a catalyst. It's interesting to me that we would get this card when we look at how they're actually doing, and that card is reversed. So this does imply a loss of control, specifically in regards to their telecommunications, because the element of fire, as expressed by the wands in tarot, that principality is about the rapid movement and motion of commodities, ideas. This is the sharing of information. This is the sharing of it's a very transactional energy. And the Eight of Wands is something very unexpected. Now, my feeling is that these powers, they anticipate something, but I think that they're not, I think it's going to surprise them as well. So let me see. I mean, it's so hard to just say, yeah,
no, but you do what you do, which is explain from the cards and the spiritual aspect and the long scale. I'll jump down and say, yeah, this is going to happen on this day.
I do my best,
No, it's exact. I mean, to me, that tells me, yeah, it would be chaotic, fast moving situation where, I mean, I don't think there has been a force majeure claimed on the comics in the history of the comics. I'm not
really
sure. Yeah, which, I mean, the comics came around like in the early 1970s.
Let me see. Oh, so like 10 years ago. Time sensitive
early
issue.
1970s.
Like a million. Just
we got another math challenging situation.
No, I'm just messing around, because in the grand scheme of things, what is the 1970s? So we have time sensitive issue and things can change. So my feeling on this, first of all, I'll have you guys know, and we have talked about this, but 2022 being a 6th year, this is the year that a lot of promises that were made, they are kept this year. And the devil archetype implies that a lot of stuff, you got to pay the piper. They've got to pay the piper this year. I know we've talked about a solar event. I feel like they are bracing themselves for some kind of a possibly even something from space or something from the outside. Whether it's real or not, it's going to be, that's the narrative, is that it's going to be something that was completely out of their control. And I would have you guys look at this. When the Eight of Wands comes in, it comes in out of frame. It comes in, it's not coming up from inside. It's not coming from below. It's literally out of frame coming in. That's why this card is about shielding yourself really from things that you didn't see coming. You're like, news that comes at you fast, things that come at you fast, they're very disruptive. So it is a yes card. Do I want to say that it's going to be within the next 2 months? I don't really want to say that, but who cares what I want to say?
It.
Okay.
And it might take different forms. I mean, the force majeure can be, I mean, it's a legal terminology to void contracts, basically. So it can be the act of war. The declaration of war is the official term. It could be a solar event. It could be a water event, a hurricane or a tsunami.
Listen, stop right there.